Welcome to Lesson 12, Using Smart Objects in Photoshop. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how smart objects add more capabilities to Photoshop's non-destructive workflow. In the simplest form, you can use them to retain an image's original information, even after a filter has been applied. You can also place graphics as smart objects, convert them to smart objects right in Photoshop, and even combine smart objects for a greater flexibility and level of creativity. So let's get started. I have PS1201 open already, and you can open your version from your PS Lessons folder. And the first thing I'm going to do is add an image in here. Now I'm not going to place this image. Instead, I'm going to open it up as a smart object just so you can see how that can be done. I can select a picture or an image file and click on Open as Smart Object. Click OK if I have a missing profile, and you'll notice that in the Layers panel I have this image, and in the lower right there's this icon that indicates that this is a smart object. So what is so great about a smart object? Well, normally if you have an image like this, and I'm going to go ahead and open up this image normally, you might take it, press Command T or Control T and make it a little bit smaller to use it. I'm going to hit the Return key or the Commit button up in the Options panel. Now once I've made that smaller as a non-smart object, it makes it really difficult to resize it back to where it was. So if I press Command or Control T again and I make this butterfly bigger, you'll see that the information has been lost. I now have this blurry, fuzzy image because when I shrunk it down, it didn't think it needed that data anymore. And now when I bring it back up, it's missing. So let's see the difference with the smart object. I'm going to close that file, not save it. Come back to this one that's nice and sharp and crisp. I'm pressing Command or Control T. I'm making it much smaller. Pressing the Return key. Okay. Now I want to make it bigger. Command T, I make it bigger. And you see that the information has been retained. The other really nice thing is it remembers where 100% is. If you notice up here at the top, there's a width and height text box. And it's actually giving me the sizes based upon that original 100%. And I can of course come back here anytime by typing 100 and clicking that chain. And now I have my image back to where it was. The other important thing to note is that even though it's a smart object, it doesn't mean that you can scale this out beyond the 100% mark. There still is a limit, which is typically up to 120% before you start to see a loss of detail. But still, the results are much better than when I had used just a normal object and not a smart object. Okay, I'm going to escape that and close that file and not save it. And this time I'm going to choose File, Place back inside of my 1201 file, and I'm going to take that same image and place it. Now you'll notice that once I place it in here and I select the size that I want to use it at, I'll just leave it at the same right now and press the Return or the Commit button. You'll notice that as a placed image, it also is a smart object automatically. And I can press Command T or Control T and I can just grab hold of this guy and reposition him. Now I'm going to press the Return key and also hold down the Option or Alt key while I'm on the Move tool. And I'm going to clone this a couple times here because I want to show you something else that's really great about smart objects. I am going to press Command T, use a little free transform. Notice that I'm also holding down my Command or Control key to select the proper layer. If you hold down Command or Control, when you click on an item, it will auto-select that layer. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and rotate this the other way and bring it over here. Command or Control, click on this butterfly, Command T. We're going to rotate this a little bit maybe make this one a little bit bigger, but I'm also going to change the opacity of this one. Now here's the interesting thing. I've changed the position, the rotation, the size, and even the opacity. I can even change the blending mode of some of these butterflies. And yet, these are all still connected to the same image. When you use a smart object, you are actually embedding an image into your Photoshop file. It's actually built into this file now. And if I double click on that little thumbnail icon, you'll see that I get a message saying that I'm editing this file, and I can click and open it. And there's my butterfly that I originally placed. But if I come in here and I make a change, for instance, if I decide that I'm going to put an adjustment layer on here, and I choose hue saturation, I change the color, I think that's just great, and I save it and close it, you'll notice that it's reflected instantly through the rest of the smart objects because they're all tagged back to that original file. If you don't want that to occur, you can always right-click on a layer that's a smart object and rasterize it. That removes that link back to that smart object. Now, just for fun, I'm going to place another image to show you a couple other extra things. And I'll go ahead and place another butterfly in here. Okay, it's a big butterfly. Bring it down in size a little bit and place it. The other benefit of using smart objects is that you can use it with the filters. So this image has been placed. So when I go to filter, convert for smart filters, it's grayed out because when I placed it, it automatically turned into a smart object. If I scroll down and I select this butterfly, which was there originally, and then go to filter, I can also choose convert for smart filters here. Now, what is so important about smart filters? Well, let me show you. If I go ahead and I select this butterfly and I choose to go in and blur it, Gaussian blur, you'll notice that it applies the blur. Now, typically, if you apply a filter, you're pretty much stuck with it unless you undo or you go back to the original some other way. When you have a smart object, which is the exact same thing that you get when you choose convert for smart filters, you are left with the filter in your layers panel so you can turn it off or on, or you can even click on it and edit it and undo it or do it more as much as you want. Now, the other benefit is that you also get a mask with this. And if I click on this mask, you'll notice that if I take my paintbrush and I paint black, I'll make it a little bit bigger by hitting the right bracket, that I can choose where I want that filter to apply. And just like all the other masking exercises that you've been working on throughout this book, you see that wherever there is black, that filter is being blocked from occurring. Wherever it's white, that blur filter is occurring. I'm going to change my brush to 100% so you can see something a little bit more drastic. Or perhaps I just want to take my gradient tool, and with this mask selected, I'm going to click and drag across, and you can see now I can fade that blur in. So in this lesson, you discovered how you can take advantage of using smart objects. This has been Jennifer Smith for Digital Classroom.